Before we get started tonight, I want to introduce the head table. To my left, to your right, or whatever it is our district manager, Mr. Corrington, and his lovely wife, Pat. Next to Pat Corrington, I think you know it as Peg Gibbons. If you don't know the man next to Peg Gibbons, just leave me 25 bucks. We enjoyed having you. To my right is Jim Woods and his lovely wife, Gail. And next to Mr. Woods is my wife, Tori, who gave me this damn flower. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce, there's a lot of people I can introduce here that are from out of town, especially Denver. But, yeah, go Broncos, right? But there's three individuals I'd like to introduce to everybody. And, you know, you talk about the J.C. Penney career in 37 years, et cetera, et cetera. But the real tribute to any individual's life is what I'm going to introduce right now, and that's the three sons. So, my three sons, would you stand up? First one is Doug Gibbons. Next one is Jeff. The last one is near and dear to my heart. In other places, the family, they know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to explain it here. Is Phil. Sit down. I think we all know we're here this evening to wish our friend Gene Gibbons a happy new beginning as he draws his J.C. Penney career to a close. His career basically has been in the Bay Area for 37 years. He's been a real partner. He started his career in January 1951 in our San Leandro store. He worked for Bill Davis. The same year, he became a department manager in that same store of boys, girls, and infants and home furnishings. Now, I also started with Bill Davis, and if you're wondering about the progress of becoming a department manager within the same year, it's easy. Bill had a special program called Acting Department Manager. That's where you worked to death and you didn't get any money. By the way, I started in '63 and had the same damn program. 2 years later, in 1953, Gene was transferred to our South San Francisco store as the #2 man. I know you're all waiting for this. There was only 2 men in the store. Now, we've talked about the reorganization, the speed with systems, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, every time I hear a new system, I'm also a systems coordinator, at least for the next 30 days. But we hear about a new system that comes in. Everybody says, God, I wish I had it back in the good old days. Well, 1953 was the good old days. You know what Gene did in South San Francisco? He sold all day long, 6 days a week on commission. He did his books at night. And then for a little extra income, he paid me the janitorial work in the store. God, I wish we'd go back to the good old days. In 1957, Gene was transferred to the all-new Concord store under Vic Wetzel, and later would work for Stan Putnam. Believe it or not, the Park and Shop Center in Concord was the first escalator in Contra Costa County. In 1959, Gene was transferred again. Gene, I understand, it's there for 2 years.
That was to be the program.
You were a star, you offended the hell out of everybody. In 1959, Gene was transferred to our Hayward facility on Foothill Boulevard. Again, under the manager, Vic Wetzel, and a legendary merchant prince, the assistant manager, Tony Muniz. Whatever happened, Tony? In 1961, Gene was promoted to our San Leandro store, back to our San Leandro store as the assistant manager under Larry Gageford and later Ken Goldberg. In 1963, Gene was promoted to the big downtown AAA San Jose store under Alex Sochet as a division manager. for women's, men's, and children's. And his department manager was one of our partners in the Bay Area one time, John Baldwin, who's the manager of Santa Maria today. In 1965, Gene was transferred to downtown Oakland under Roger Neighbors. Later he worked for Bill Striegel, and then Ivan Finley, affectionately called Ivan the Terrible at one time. In 1968, God, you moved. In 1968, Gene was promoted. 1968, he was promoted to the first full-line, one of the first full-line stores in the company, and that was the Southland Store Mall in Hayward, under which I think Gene would agree with me, one of the finest managers I ever worked for, and that was Bob Elliott. By the way, he was transferred as a division manager for women's shoes, and the auto center, and he had a hell of a department manager for women's. That was me. The other thing, too, is that Jim Pollock, who was our district supervisor at the time, congratulated Gene in the open store on his move. My problem is Jim forgot to tell the store manager to tell Gene that he was moved. In 1973, we were having tremendous difficulties in our, what was known then as our pool stock facility, that is now the DLDC, or Deliverable Line Distribution Center. Those people whoop you. Gene was asked in 1973 to accept the leadership of the pool facility in an effort to straighten out the difficulties and the chaos we had in that facility at the time. Gene's worked in these 37 years, he's worked for basically 12 store managers and 80 district managers. The DLDC has gone from $14 million volume in 1973 to over $52 million last year. And it really has been the benchmark for all the distribution centers in the Western region. And Gene has been instrumental in making that the #1 facility that everybody's looked forward to, looked to as a one to follow. We, some of you know the circumstances, what I'm going to talk about right now is we'd like to have a little slideshow. Well, we had a film problem. So the rehearsal on the slideshow was 15 minutes before you came in the room. So even though we don't have the cameras and the projectors that focus in and out, and, we do have my daughter, who hopefully will follow the script and this thing will come off okay. As I stated earlier, Pool Stock in 1973 was in a state of turmoil. Deliveries were late, office productivity was poor, breakage was out of control. And she's off one slide already. There we go. I can't believe I'm sending you to college you're going to. Okay. In an effort to better dramatize the improvements Gene's made, we have a short visual presentation, which Tracy's already in the 2 slides of it, showing you today's high standards set for the operation. As we said, Gene took over the helm in 1973 as the captain of our new pool stock. This is the Navy's answer to Rambo. The first thing Gene set straight was the 4 office productivity and standards. As you can see in the next slide, professionalism was the rule of the game in the office. The second area Gene addressed was the sloppy way customers' deliveries were loaded on the trucks. As you can see, the only top quality furniture leaves our docks today for customer pickup, customer delivery. My wife shot those pictures Friday. I could be going to your store, guys. Okay, before Gene took command, truck scheduling and the cooperation with the drivers was non-existent. Some of the people in the deal to see know some of these shots. But under Gene's leadership, cooperation is now the rule, as you can see by the 2 truck drivers leaving the facility at the same time. Before Gene came along, the customers waited forever at their package pickup to get their purchase from Pool. But now that Gene's arrived, the next picture you'll see is a patient customer, okay, who's waiting for his purchase to be picked up at the package pickup at Pool, and the facility is really fast today. In an effort to ensure the high level of morale, Gene had an open door policy. As you can see, everyone was totally informed at all times. Gene's leadership ensures the highest standard for installation and maintenance of our upcoming new conversion to electronic systems. Scares me, these are actual shots. While Logisticon had minor problems, Gene's leadership ensured that everyone supported the system. By the way, I told my wife, I said, take a gun with you. That is a real 38. I didn't expect her to take that one. Okay, even with all the pressure and stress from the computer malfunctions, Gene never showed any effect and always maintained a professional image. Gene, it's time for you to say goodbye to your team. Gene, we know that you're really upset and you're feeling extremely sad that you have to leave and you have to retire. Yeah. You know, you just have to buckle under it and accept it. Partner from the past. The guys were wondering what it takes to get up here to the head table, and the first speaker, but it's got to be an out-of-town speaker, so Jim Woods qualifies as an out-of-town speaker now. So our good past partner from the Westgate San Jose store, now the manager of Lloyd's Center, Portland, Jim Woods.
Somebody that had money. We wanted somebody that had a well-stocked bar. We like to party. We like to travel, especially to Hawaii. We like somebody who owns antique cars. We needed somebody who had a friend or relative who worked for a drapery company because we needed new drapes. We needed someone who had season tickets to the football games. We needed someone who could help me in my petty career. And we needed someone who could teach me how to make money in furniture and electronics. And I needed someone that I could beat playing golf. That's terrible, right, Bill? Well, somebody was looking after me. Because one spring evening, sitting in Candlestick Park, who should I be seated next to but lovely Peggy? And it was instant love. I don't know what Gibbs was. But anyway, we struck up a friendship at that All-Star game. And most of you have known Peggy and Gibb a lot longer than Gail and I have. But that friendship is something else. Gibb, we know you have money because you're retired. We know you have a good bar because we've been there. We know you have a condo in Hawaii because we invited ourselves along. And then you made me buy a condo on your week. Yeah, joining your week. We know you have an old car because you drive a 75 Cadillac and a what? We know you have a son who works for in draperies. So, you know, that's nice. We know you have football season tickets, but we didn't know they were Oakland Raiders. You really have helped me in my petty career. You know, you're the only guy that I know of that the district manager visits with you daily. And you have taught me how to make money in furniture. And guys, there's nothing to it. Gibb has been able to only add Westgate to the prorations every other month now for the last 3.5 years. And that's been helpful. He's allowed me to charge back all of my special orders. No problem. He's allowed me to make unlimited customer adjustments and charge it to Wilcox over at Eastwood. And of course, that's how we really do it in the furniture business. And Gibbs' last words to me was, the best thing to do is get the heck out of furniture and electronics. So anyway, we figured that they met all the criteria to be a friend. And among many other things, in the last 3.5 years, Gibb and Peggy, Gail and I, have become very close friends. And I'm really sorry that we are now living in Portland, and they have a car, because I figured they're going to be up there about half the time. But it has been a great friendship, and we've traveled to Hawaii together. We went to Mexico while he was slightly disabled. The only problem with that was that we ran into Wayne Moen at the airport in San Jose. We flew out of San Jose, so you know, he wouldn't know anything about it. Gibb, I promise I wouldn't tell. All I can say is that they're great people. I've enjoyed the last 3.5 years, and I'm looking forward to the next 25 with Peggy and Gibb, and I wish you all the best in your retirement, and I know you're going to enjoy it. No more Monday mornings.
Thank you, Jim. My wife and I went to the Pleasant Fair this year, since it's only walking distance from the house, but there was a booth there and had a computer. And when you fed a date into it, it gave you all the historical events for that date. So what the heck, we fed in Gibbs' date he started the penny company, and it was obvious nothing came out with talking about, but we'd like to have to cover a couple of things during that time. A new Ford was $1,500 versus $10,000 a day. A new home was $9,000. Today it says $92,000. Wrong country. Annual income was $3,500. That's about $2,000 short from the penny company was paying us back then. And the average day is $24,000. The Dow Jones was $257, and you know what it is today because you all follow penny stock. So anyway, this cost me $1.50 today. So. Okay, our second speaker this evening probably relates to those prices too. Is our district's answer to Mr. Goodwrench, Tom McKay. Tom McKay.
Well, when I started out to do this, Bill asked me to say a few words about giving. I don't know who he is, but say a few words about it. He said, money's no expense, get to it. Well, I started on it, and I was starting to get some things in line. And he come running in the office, he says, hold expense. We got an out-of-town speaker. So there went, you can see, I'm on a low budget. The out-of-town speaker got the money. Well, what I'm going to tell you about, you all know Gibbons from J.C. Penney and everything. I'm going to give you a little different Gene Gibbons story. Just a little bit. And it all started a long time ago when Gene was born. Of course he was. He's here. But World War I started. And we've been in a turmoil ever since. And now Dayton is retiring. And what do you know? We're getting ready now for a disarmament pact. Things are looking good. Gene got an education and decided to go to work. Now we'll use that word loosely during this story this evening. Work, that is. As you saw some pictures on the expense account. So he heard about J.C. Penney, and he decided to try that. He started in 1951, a long time ago. Is that as old as your cars?
Just about.
And crawled his way to the top. His final assignment was the DLDC, which was translated by Gene into "Don't lose it a customer." The first order when he got there was give the customer anything he wants, but don't lose it a customer. Gene thought this isn't a bad job. No work and plenty of rest. So he had to set his office up for his plan of action. Now, mind you, he never let Peg know how easy this was. Every night he'd come home and he'd say to Peg, "Oh, God, what a drag. It's just wearing me down. I just can't get going." But this is what he was trying to convince Peg what he was doing. This is what he wanted Peg to believe, and the rest of his associates. How hard he worked. This is Gene every day when you call him for a little bit of help with the delivery. Too busy, he's working. But after being with Gene for about 3 years, I discovered the truth. And now tonight, Peg, here is a picture of the way he actually worked. Again, using your term work loosely, Gene. I'll show you just exactly what his office was set up like and what he was doing. And if you don't believe me, back there was vouch for me. Also, when I found out about his real work habits, I began to think about this guy. What's going on here? How come he's got it so easy and I got to work? So I started looking into it and I found out he's a little bit of a mystery about this guy. There's some strange things going on. And I was resolved to find out. So I called in our super fuzz, our gumshoe number one, and I told him of my problem, and I understand he has solved the problem. He brought me the evidence, and I'm going to present it to you tonight. Mike Lawson, our gumshoe number one, brought this evidence. Now, Gene, I'd like to ask you, just quietly, and I'm sorry, does this remind you of or the note that came with it? Hi, sorry I missed you. My schedule was a little heavy. Don't worry, I'll be back. Love, the fat lady. So, your scarf, you were into scarves? Who are you going to convince that one to? So, in the meantime, we still didn't know who this fat lady was. So we started to, Mike, looking deeper and deeper into it, finally got a picture of the fat lady. We solved the mystery. Tonight, I bring to you the picture of the Now, you know, Gene's reached retirement age, and he's going to go on and enjoy himself. But there's one little problem. The last couple, 4 or 5 months, he's been getting a little senile. He can't remember what he's doing, or when he has to go, he doesn't know where he has to go to. He had a sign made up and put in his office. It says, an entrance, third door on the left. That's what it was. Now you have the picture of Gene Gibbons as I saw him. And that's the Gibbons story. Well, Gene, I told your story. And now I'll tell you ours. We are certainly going to miss you. Your friendship, your smile, and for just being you, Gene. What I'm trying to say is, we love you. And with you going will be just a little piece of our heart leaving us. Really, you're the best.
Returned from vacation in Nevada, and Gene, I don't think you know how big news you are up there for your retirement. You hit the headline in Virginia City. It says, Gene Gibbons retired from JCPenney, wife suffers harassment. Now, I want you to cherish this, because this thing costs $3.50, but I want you to know I had to wait an hour and a half to make a dollar slot machine, so it's about $50. Is that in the budget? All right, for our next speaker really is a tradition when it comes to banquets. He's either the MC or the speaker. Everybody's already looking over this table over here, so you know the guy with the funny eye. Really, you might say he's our elected district poet. I'd like to introduce Dick Blind.
I didn't want to have to be introduced twice, 2 times. I thought I'd get up here as quickly as I could. So I'm out of breath. I want you to know, Tom, that a lot of people tonight came here in antique cars. But it's because they've been working for the penny company for 25 years. I actually gave a title to this little talk this evening. It's called Gene Gibbons, the Boy Named Sue. A long, long time ago, from a small state far, far away, I came to visit the pool stop as the district operations manager from Spokane. And I came to visit because I was going to learn about Logisticon and how wonderful that system was going to treat our customers and our sales associates. And I attended a meeting, and at that meeting, we had an itinerary, an agenda. And it said that the speaker for the day would be Gene Gibbons. J-E-A-N. Gibbons. And I said, well, how refreshing. This lady's going to tell us about it. How does a guy get the name J-E-A-N? Gene. The real truth is that Gene's mother died in childbirth. That's the truth. That's the truth. And her maiden name was French. Dijon. Capital D-E, capital J-E-A-N. And in her memory, her father named Gene, J-E-A-N. Or his father, I'm sorry. Is there anybody from the Jordan family? Now, as you can guess, and as you've heard from the Johnny Cash song, Gene had a lot of problem with his name as a schoolboy. And one day, his father was reviewing Gene's report card and noticed that the report card said Gene Gibbons, G-E-N-E. He was furious that Gene would lie about the way his name was spelled. So he grabbed Gene, who was at that time 6'3". The results are obvious. Actually, the truth is that I am very happy that Gene spells his name with a J rather than a G. You see, when you print a J, it's no problem. And when you write a cursive small g, it's no problem. But when you go to make a capital G, you got to move your arm in all kinds of different directions. Now, I want you to know something. I have trouble making capital G's. My pen freezes. I can't move it. I can't make it happen. And as a matter of fact, when I get done making a capital G, my markings look like ancient holy inscriptions. I have had secretaries have me paged in the airport to ask me what the word before expectations was in a letter. They say, was that plate expectations? I say no. They say, was that great expectations? I say no. It's a G. The word is great expectations. Well, anyway, at least I can read Gene's name when I write it. Gene Gibbons. Gene is probably best known among his partners in pool stocks, DLDCs, as an expense control person. And I want to tell you about controlling expenses at the DLDC. You see, Tom Mulcahy alluded to it. Gene has a personal stall in the laboratory. Now, Gene's stall looks like everybody else's stall, with one great exception: the tissue dispenser. All the stalls, with the exception of Gene's stall, have an oval cylinder that holds the tissue. It is so shaped that at no time can it make more than half a revolution. Therefore, the most you can get is 5 inches of tissue paper. If you were to get more than 5 inches of tissue paper, you would set a DLDC record. However, you can take this microscopic paper and get 5 pieces of it together. But let me tell you folks, you're still in trouble. Now, the dispenser in Gene's stall is cylindrical. And you can always tell Gene's stall because it has a handle on the door. So that you don't have to hold it closed for privacy. Gene's stall with the round cylinder, it has the cushy, thick, seasonally colored toilet tissue. Gene has the roller inspected and oiled 3 times a week. A mild pull on Gene's roller will put you up to your knees in toilet tissue. The reason I know that is because it puts Gene up to his armpit. Now that's really enough about Gene Gibbons. What about Peggy? God, what a saint she must be. The one story I know about this, folks, and it may be somewhat exaggerated, but I believe it to be true. She called Gene one morning at work. Several of us were around. She called Gene, she says, Gene, I've got a tinkling problem. Gene said, what? Said, I've got a tinkling problem. I just went to the lavatory. I looked in the toilet. It was full of pennies. Gene said, don't bother me with that sort of stuff. Wait till it's a bigger problem. Half an hour later, called back. She said, I couldn't wait. Now it's got nickels in it. Gene was mildly concerned. 45 minutes later, she calls back. She says, Gene, you won't believe it, but it's now dimes. Gene did get concerned. Then when she called back and said, you guessed it, it's full of quarters, he called the doctor. Should have gone to Reno with the money. The doctor called back. Gene called home. He said, Kate, there's no problem. The doctor told me what was wrong. Honey, you're just going through the change.
Kind of a fitting. We'd like to take this moment now to recognize somebody that really is instrumental in Gene's career. Okay, retailing is a tough business. It's it's peaks and its valleys. It's got highs and lows. We've always got one person there, our partner. Okay, who's our wife, helping us through the highs and the lows. And Peg, at this time, I'd like you to accept this in appreciation from the J.C. Penney Company for your cooperation and contribution to Gene's career in the last 37 years. There's no speech, Peg.
No, I just don't want to know how come I get back worn out.
The back room, hear that one? She wants to know why she's getting you back now that you're worn out. Okay, now I take great pleasure in introducing our district manager, Mr. Corrington.
Thank you, President Jamie Peg. It's been quite a night, these are some of the special times that the Penney family is able to get together. Recognize our partners through many of our careers at certainly, Gene, you and Peg. And I use the word Peg and the name Peg because, gosh, all of us in the careers that have the wives or the husbands certainly has the respect and support that's needed in order to have a very successful career. And Peg, again, our sincere appreciation for that part of life. Yeah, I get to be the straight man because I represent the Penny Company here. Mr. Oestreicher, our regional manager, happened to be in town this past week, and he wanted to make sure that all of you recognize the accomplishments that Gene has made in the Penny Company. Touched on a few of them on the screen with the light side of things. Gene was a pioneer in many things in the development of DLDCs in this Penny Company, and corrected many of the problems. And Gene, I understand that over the last few years, we finally have many of them just corrected recently since he's retired. And Gene said over lunch the other day, listen, I'm not so sure, boss, that this is really fair. I've fought this for 10 years, and now it's working right. But Gene's been quite instrumental. He's been looked upon, he's been called upon, he's been recognized in the Penny Company for many of his accomplishments. The family of Gene, in fact. You know, Penny Company asks a lot of its people. Believe me, we support and thank you for your support of your father during many of those times where perhaps he should have been at home, but he was out doing his duty with J.C. Penney's. And we honestly and sincerely say thank you for your understanding. Gene, it's a real privilege now to give you the gift that all of your friends in the room here have become a part and donate their love and affection for this beautiful, beautiful memento that we hope that you and Peg will take with you for the rest of your career, wherever that's going to be. You know, we tried to get him to go on, but he says, no, it's time for me to stop and catch my breath. Thank you.
Tribute to your 37 years. These are all your friends and partners, and now I'd like to introduce your partner in DLDC, who represents them this evening for the gift I'd like to present to you, and that's Dave Towner. Dave?
Thank you very much. Well, you know, when I came to the DLDC, my first week there, Gene, when I called him and told him I was coming over to take Frank Masson's place, Gene said, well, that's just great. We start at 8, but, you know, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be on vacation. So Gene was already training me to take over because he was not there when I first started. And now in the recent months, he did it again. 3 months, he was just at home, hanging around. And it's all Peg's fault. Seriously now, we're really going to miss you. I'm sure all the girls back there I really miss you, and we have a little memento for you to use in your leisure hours now, your real leisure hours. And Jim's going to bring it over.
Jim will
Jim, you get Character Valley.
I've got to explain something on this gift. Traditionally, you have these wraps that are open instantly. We appreciate your store, Mr. DeClaw, for wrapping this for us. But the lady I talked to, we had a tape that you pull straight down, and I explained to her that when you pull straight down, it opens up. I went and picked it up Friday, and another nice lady. You got great associates in your store, Andre. She said, Mr. Spoon, it was all loose, so I just taped it up. So I have no idea if we can even get into this whole humbug. So Dave brought a knife.
David being my merchandiser all these years, I'm always a little nervous when he pulls out his knife. This helps my golf game. Thanks ever so much. Now even sooner than I thought.
Normally, this basically concludes it and Gene gets up and speaks and everything else, but I'm a little annoyed even though that Dick Klein was funnier than hell. You know, I introduced him as a poet, and there wasn't a whole lot of poetry there. So, Dick, I want a poet. Won't go around.
The temptation to grab the set of irons and keep going is tremendous. Just a few minutes ago, this was dropped by at the table, and thank you, Bill. It's for some lady. So long, Gene. Or Ode to Prorating Markdowns. Or according to Logisticon, nothing manifests itself. They're giving a party with banners and ribbons, for we're saying so long to a retiring Gene Gibbons. No telegram sent. This gets boos and hisses, but J-E-A-N, is that addressed to Ms. or Mrs.? For 37 years, Gene has given his all. Of course, that isn't so much when you're only 5 feet tall. But Gene has established some fantastic relations with store managers who feared his monthly prorations. Lest we forget, there was a career before pool. One as a merchant, lots of hard knocks in that school. But someone got smart, and to no one's surprise, they got Gene a job where you don't buy it by size. But just like an umpire trying to make all the right calls, sometimes the markdowns outpace the withdrawals. And managers would call, showing how much they care, arguing that Gene had charged far more than their share. his home away from home in fall, winter, and spring, and especially in summer with his air conditioning, yet to be locked in a supply room with no keys really stings. But remember, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And his computer friend, Kathy, will always live on, as dreams turn to nightmares with Logisticon. For be there a big sale just to rattle your nerves, that system will not be taking any item reserves. But Gene has survived with long heart and short leg. Much of the credit goes to his real partner, Peg, who joins with us all as we wish him goodbye. God bless you and keep you. You are one hell of a guy.
Well, thanks, Sue. Quite a tribute tonight, huh? In return, I'd like to try that one more time. I know, okay. In return tonight, I'd like to pay a few small tributes to some of the group here tonight, too. First to our son Jeff, my sister Cindy. Jeff came in from Boston, Cindy from Denver. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law Tom and Jane from Denver. Our best friends-in-law Dick and Wendy from Phoenix. Just want you to know that we've been looking over our schedule, and it looks like about 6 weeks with you. Each. To Mike Austin, who graciously volunteered his services for the security duties tonight, and thus will be charging back his dinner, his drinks, and finance. To Tom Mulcahy. Tom, I had a lot of nice things to say about you tonight. But to Joe Jordan. Did I get that right? You know, Joe just received his gold card the other day. That entitles him, you know, to a lifetime discount on any garage sale ad he runs in the Wairega News Tribune. To Jim and Gail Woods. Mr. Corrington, I want you to thank you again for transferring them up to Portland as I requested. See, Peg and I have never been to Portland. To Dick Line, for not reading an ode to the night before Christmas from the RBC for the 7th year in a row. To Del Hodgins to Rose Brzezinski. To Rose Brzezinski, Mother Superior of the DLDC. You know, I didn't know what a Mother Superior was until I got to that job. Do you have any idea what it's like being the only Baptist in an office full of Catholic women? And to you, Mr. Corrington, who, and don't any of you forget it, is the Father Superior around here. Thanks for taking special care of Rose and the gang for me, will you? To Claudia Val. Claudia, when I first went to the DODC, didn't say one word to anybody. She spent the last 4 years preaching to me on the evils of smoking. To Marcy Silva, who has spent the last 8 years commuting from Fairfield to, not for the money, just to work for me. And to all our former DLDC associates who decided they wouldn't walk across the parking lot to work for me. To Bill and Gloria Spoon, and not necessarily in that order. Not only for putting on a super bash tonight, for having been our good friends for a long, long time. Thanks, guys. And lastly, to Peg, you know, she ran a test run on this retirement thing earlier this year. And just today, she gave me her own little personal retirement gift. A long aluminum pole, a 6-pack of beer, and a book entitled A Fisherman's Stockton Sloughs. And lastly, to every one of you here, thanks so much for your partnership, for your love, for your care, your friendship. God bless you. Thanks.
Well, that basically concludes our program for this evening, but not the fun. So we'd like to invite everybody to stay and join the celebration.
Yeah, tell me about it. My 70-year-old Wells Fargo. That was my inconvenience in a long He wasn't going